Now that you've signed in, collected your supplies, and chosen a dog, you're ready to leash. Leashing is an advanced skill, so don't be discouraged if you struggle at first. Practice makes perfect. There are 2 basic steps to leashing: assembling the leash and leashing the dog. First, be prepared with a leash before opening the kennel. This means that your hands should be completely free. All toys and treats should be tucked away in your pocket. The only thing you should have in your hands when trying to leash the dog is the leash itself. Next, be sure the leash is correctly assembled. The leashes used in the shelter are slip leashes. To assemble the leash, put the wrist loop through the ring and pull, just as you see here. This will create an adjustable loop that goes around the dog's neck. Once the leash is correctly assembled, place the loop around your right wrist, like you see here. Do not try to hold the leash like you see here. Notice how the volunteer is not holding the leash very well. If the dog tries to pull away, they could easily get free of the volunteer. Next, be sure that you're ready to leash the dog before opening the kennel. That means the leash should be around your wrist, and that adjustable loop should be large enough to easily fit over the dog's head. When you're ready to leash the dog, use your left hand to hold the kennel door closed and your right leg to block the dog in the kennel. Use your right hand to put the loop of the leash around the dog's neck. As soon as you have the leash around the dog's neck, pull the leash up to tighten, sort of like lassoing the dog. Do not let the dog outside the kennel until you have the dog safely on the leash. If the dog is trying to get out, use your right leg to push them back into the kennel. Be careful. If you need to close the kennel door, be sure that you're not closing the door on the dog's paws. In the following video, watch as the volunteer correctly leashes and removes the dog from its kennel. Unfortunately, not every dog in the Humane Society is going to be easy to handle. If you're having difficulty getting the dog on leash, like the dog you see here, consider choosing a different dog. First, this dog won't be any easier to walk outside, so this might be a warning that the dog you're trying to work with is too energetic or too challenging for your skill level. Second, it's important not to reward bad behavior, like being difficult to leash, by taking the dog outside to play. Most importantly, anytime you're not completely comfortable handling a dog, return them to their kennel. Your #1 priority is your safety, and you should trust your instincts when working with sheltered dogs. Once you have the dog on a leash, you're ready to exit the kennel. Keep your dog from touching other kenneled dogs in one of 2 ways. When possible, position the dog so they're on the side further away from other dogs, like you see here. If you're working in a row where there are dogs on both sides, tighten up on the leash and keep the dog close to your body, like you see here. Exit the kennel briskly to keep other dogs and the dog you're working with from becoming too anxious. Exit the kennel only through the kennel exit door. Do not take your dog through the lobby. In the following video, watch as the volunteer correctly exits the kennel area. When exiting the shelter, use the 4-step procedure, stop, prompt, wait, and go, to teach the dog to wait calmly at all doors and gates. When you're exiting the shelter, watch for other dogs that may be coming back into the shelter at the same time. Do not allow dogs who don't live together to touch one another. You can use the side yard immediately outside the kennel exit door to let the dog use the bathroom or readjust their leash. Stopping here to let the dog potty is a great way to encourage the dog to be calm while walking. However, do not let the dog off-leash in this side yard. This is not an exercise yard, and letting dogs off-leash here will put them at risk for injury from other dogs. Watch as the volunteer correctly exits the kennel area with the dog.
Okay. Okay. All right, come on, Trace. Wait. Wait. Good girl, waiting. Good girl.
When walking to the exercise yard, take the dog along the sidewalk here, or across the parking lot to the grassy area here. Do not walk the dog through the parking lot. The shelter is very busy, and this may put both you and the dog in danger. Remember to give lots of space to visitors and other volunteers walking dogs. This will help minimize the chance that your dog jumps on people or that dogs who don't know one another come into contact with each other. If the dog uses the bathroom outside, be sure to clean up any solid waste left behind. There are waste bags and bins in each yard to help with cleanup. In the following video, watch as the volunteers provide space to visitors and other dogs. Encourage the dog to walk calmly by waiting whenever the dog pulls, and provide lots of praise and attention for good leash walking. Use 2 hands while walking sheltered dogs. One hand should have the loop of the leash around the wrist, while the other is holding the leash near the dog and controlling the leash tension. Your leash should be taut, but not tight enough to hurt the dog. In the following video, watch as the volunteer teaches the dog to walk calmly on the leash.
Good girl, waiting, Tracy. Good girl. Wait. Good girl. Good girl, Tracy. Wait. Good girl, waiting. Good girl. Wait. Oh, good walking. Good girl.
As a new volunteer, we ask that you keep dogs on shelter property at all times. While many dogs would benefit from a long walk around the neighborhood, taking dogs off property requires special information and preparation by shelter staff. Never take a dog off-site unless you have the permission of shelter staff. If all of the yards are full, walk your dog around shelter property until a yard becomes available. Choose the right size yard for your dog. Very small dogs, those that are under 25 pounds, go into the little dogwood yard, shown here. All other dogs should go into one of the 5 large exercise yards, shown here. The Lawrence Humane Society uses a double gate system in all of its large exercise yards. This design means you'll be entering the yard by passing through 2 separate gates. These gates help reduce the number of dogs who get loose due to leash error and helps protect visitors entering and exiting the yard. This is also 2 additional opportunities for you to teach the dog how to wait calmly at gates. In the following video, watch as the volunteer correctly uses the double gate system.
Wait. Good girl. Wait. Good waiting, Tracy. Good girl. Wait. Good
Make the most of your yard time by continuing to teach important skills. First, walk the dog around the yard on leash. Remove the leash only when the dog is calm. This teaches the dog that they need to be calm when entering the yard and creates a great first impression for adopters. Next, let the dog use the bathroom and play for a few minutes before doing any training. Then, use the rest of your yard time to teach good skills. Target skills like recall, asking the dog to return to you when they're called. You can also teach simple tricks like sit or shake. Or you might teach social skills like fetch or frisbee. Teaching simple skills helps improve how potential adopters view the dog and increases the likelihood that these dogs will be adopted. Simple skills training also gives the dogs a great way to get attention from people for appropriate behavior. Dogs without appropriate skills often resort to undesirable behavior like jumping or nipping for attention. In the following video, watch as the volunteer teaches the dog during her time in the yard.
What's that? No, oh, you smell the cookies, don't you? You smell the cookies. You sit? Good sit, Tracy. Good sit. Oh, that's a good sit, pretty girl. Yeah, boy. Oh, good girl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? What do you think? What do you think? Oh, come on. Come on. No, you're not a ball puppy. Oh, Tracy, come here. Come here. You sit. Lay down. Good sit. That was a good sit. Oh my. Oh, pretty good. Yeah.
Don't stop encouraging good behavior on your walk back to the shelter. Continue teaching the dog to stop at all doors and gates and to walk calmly on the leash. Be sure to provide lots of space to other visitors and other dogs to help minimize injury or the spread of illness. And remember to clean up any solid waste. In the following video, watch as the volunteer and dog walk back to the shelter. Notice that the volunteer encourages all of the same good behaviors during this walk as she did on the way out.
Oh, Tracy's a good girl. Tracy's a good girl. You ready? Come on. Oh, good girl, Tracy. Come on. Wait. Good waiting, Tracy. Good waiting. That's a girl. Wait. Good waiting, Tracy. Oh, good waiting, puppy. Hi, Tracy. Oh, good walking. Wait. Good waiting. Good waiting. No, going this way. Going this way. Go for a walk. Hello, beautiful. Oh, Good girl, Tracy. Oh, good girl.
Wait.
Good reading. Good reading. Good reading.
When returning the dog to the kennel, be sure to stop at the kennel exit door. Check inside the door for any other dogs coming out to prevent contact between your dog and other sheltered dogs. Remember to teach the dog to stop and wait at this door. In the following video, watch as the volunteer enters the shelter through the kennel exit door.
Wait. Good girl. Good girl, Tracy.
Next, return the dog to their kennel. Double check the name on the door to be sure you're putting the dog away in the correct kennel. Give the dog a treat when unleashing. This helps distract the dog, which can make removing the leash easier. In the following video, watch as the volunteer correctly returns the dog to the kennel. Report any unusual symptoms or behavior to the shelter staff. Return your supplies to the dog walking area and remember to sanitize your hands. Be sure to place any dirty toys and leashes into the bin so they can be washed by shelter staff. If you're walking more dogs, collect fresh supplies for the next dog. If you've finished for the day, check your pockets and be sure that you returned all shelter equipment. Finish your shift by signing out. In the following video, watch as the volunteer finishes her walk. Of course, the Lawrence Humane Society is no stranger to surprises. This section of the video is designed to help you know what to do when the unexpected happens during volunteering. Chances are good that a dog will get away from you in the kennel area at some point in volunteering. Don't worry, this has happened to everyone. If they do, don't panic. Close the exterior door to the shelter and ask a staff member to help you get the dog back. If a dog gets away from you outside the kennel, this is much more serious. Don't panic, but don't chase the dog. This only encourages the dog to run away, which may result in permanent loss of the dog or injury. It's very important that you run back to the main lobby area and ask them to help you find a staff member to get the dog back right away. If you ever see a fight between dogs, don't attempt to reach between them to break it up. This can cause injury to both you or the dog. If two dogs are on leashes, pull them apart and let a staff member know about the fight so the dog can be examined. If the dogs are off leash, this is very serious. Immediately run to the main lobby area and find a staff member to help. If the dog appears to be ill, for example, if you see sneezing, coughing, diarrhea, or vomiting, return the dog to their kennel and report these symptoms to staff right away. This dog might need medical care. If a dog seems to be injured but can still walk, return the dog to their kennel and report their injury to staff right away. If the dog is injured and cannot move, ask a visitor or another volunteer to bring a staff member. If there are no visitors or volunteers nearby, run to the main lobby area and ask staff for help. This section of the training video is now complete. Be sure that you've answered all the questions in your training study guide, and when you're ready, move on to the next section of the training video.